This is the most open Premier League title race I've seen in years, even decades. There are 4 or 5 Premier League sides that all think if they looked at the number one spot, top of the table, they think they could put a bit of form together to win the Premier League title and snatch it out of City's hands. Obviously, Man City are part of the group that could win the Premier League, if not still favourites. But the way it's, we're approaching December. We're approaching this kind of busy period of the season where all it takes is an injury to Rodri, an injury to Saka, to Salah, and that gives opportunity and it presents the chance for other sides to put form together and go on to win the Premier League title race. Look at Leicester City. I mean, we always talk about Leicester City. I know it's almost considered an anomaly, but they saw an opportunity where Arsenal, Spurs and Man City, even Chelsea, all took points off each other, all were relatively poor, all were transitional sides, and they just did their own business and went on a run. And the reason I'm bringing Leicester City into the fray is because the closest side I can think of who shouldn't really be in the discussion but absolutely are based on yesterday's performance is Aston Villa. They've got a guy who has won some of the highest level silverware in football. Obviously 4 or 5 European Cups, the Europa Leagues, been managing at Champions League level. He definitely goes to sleep at night somewhere in Birmingham thinking, I could win 8-9 games in a row, January to February to March, and have a cheeky chance of winning the Premier League. Now, I've started with Villa because obviously I'll come on to the other sides that obviously have got way better chances of winning the Premier League. But they're currently top 4. They've gone away to Spurs. Spurs were a side I've done videos on this channel, and I have to apologise if you watch them, saying that Spurs can win the Premier League. The way they've capitulated would be an embarrassment if they went on to win the Premier League, because no side should really be capitulating with one injury to centre-back, one injury to Maddison. I know the drop-off to Eric Dyer to Lo Celso isn't good enough, but the way they've capitulated, I have to rule them out of the Premier League title race. Even the likes of United, Newcastle, have had a little bit of a rocky start. I think they've got the quality throughout the squad, the consistency, and they know how to do it in the Premier League. I think Spurs are going to be looking below them in the table. But the side that beat them, Aston Villa, if you actually look through the spine, now a couple of years ago, that's how incredible football is. A couple of years ago, Aston Villa, you're talking about a championship striker in Ollie Watkins, who probably scored 6, 7, 8 goals a season. You're talking Emi Martinez, who came out of Arsenal, wasn't really considered a thing. That's why he left the club in the first place. I'm sure he would have rather have stayed at Arsenal and been first choice, but he wasn't considered good enough. The likes of Mings, the Conces of the world, the Douglas Luizes that came out of Man City. There's a lot of off-cut players, with all due respect. And Unai Emery has brought all of them up to a level where they're all performing 8 out of 10. They're some of the best players in the world. Arsenal would sign Douglas Luiz. Spurs would sign Ollie Watkins. Emi Martinez would start for Chelsea. So this Aston Villa side have actually risen with the tide that they've created based on really good performances that all stem from Unai Emery. They're definitely in the shout. They've got the worst squad, of course, probably in the top 7 or 8, just based on paper. But the Yuri Tielemans of the world, Matty Cash had a fantastic season, Luca Digne, all these guys, even Leon Bailey's coming into a bit of form where I thought, when he first arrived at Aston Villa, not looking good. They've got a fantastic side, Aston Villa. They can spend money in January as well. Do not sleep on Aston Villa. Obviously, the least likely side to win the Premier League at this point. The 3 sides that are going to win it in reality are Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. And between them, there's 2 points in it between Liverpool and Arsenal, and Man City in the middle, currently on second. Arsenal beating Man City. Arsenal had the best record against Liverpool. Man City drew to Liverpool. So these sides are all capable of taking points off each other. As a City fan, I thought City would have a better go against Liverpool, especially at home. And that win would have taken City top, and it would have been a little bit more depressing for all the other sides that think they can win the Premier League title. But Arsenal, Liverpool and City all look flat. I all think they've got aspects of their squad that the other lack. I think the big one for Liverpool, that world-class forward line, the Jotas, Nunes, Salahs of the world, that will get them over the line in that kind of running. I always talk on this channel, you need to win 8, 9, 10, 11 games in a row. City have gone 14, 15 kind of bracket. And Liverpool, the only side that can do that. And the way you do it is by being ruthless in front of goal and having so many options where if your main striker has a bad day, on a dodgy Boxing Day, he's had a he's had a dodgy Christmas dinner. Then Salah can pick up the goals. Gakpo can pick up the goals. He's not really featuring much. Nunes has been given the nod at the moment. Jota, and of course someone like Luis Diaz as well, who I think is absolutely exceptional. Even someone like Trent popping up, if he gets trusted to play further up the pitch, he can add goals to his game as well. So Liverpool got the scoring aspect to their game. They got the ruthlessness to their game. They may lack a little bit defensively if Van Dijk was to get injured. And their midfield still needs to get sorted, in my opinion. Arsenal are currently top of the Premier League table. They're looking good. They've lost one game all season. They are a powerful outfit. I think Declan Rice, I talk about Declan Rice on this channel all the time. It's almost a Declan Rice fan channel, but the way he carries himself, the way he carries Arsenal, he is a leader through and through. He is a true captain of, I know he's not technically captain, but he is the most captain material player you're ever going to look at. He leads by example. And against Brentford, what an important result that was for Arsenal. It keeps so much pressure on City, so much pressure on Liverpool. When you win those kind of games, last minute, Kai Havertz with a goal, he pops up out of nowhere. I watched the whole game. I thought there was no way these lot are getting a 1-0 win. Arguably, Brentford should have won it. And the way Arsenal ground out that result, it really did look like... It looked like the ugly City sides that have kind of ground out, those 14 wins in a row that I talked about. It reminded me so much of classic Guardiola. It reminded me so much of Sane, Sterling and Aguero, that front three that can all interchange, all create kind of havoc in the box. And I kind of got that from the front three against Brentford from Arsenal. And Arsenal got a point to prove. They're top of the table. They're not playing their best football, in my opinion. The best football's yet to come. If they hit a higher gear come February, come March, they will definitely take this opportunity of being a couple of points ahead of Liverpool. A couple of points ahead of Liverpool, 1 point ahead of City. And they will try and maximise that points advantage so that it doesn't slip yet again. And we've got to talk about Man City. I actually can't believe I'm talking about a video where Man City and Aston Villa are in the same discussion to potentially win the Premier League title, but that's just where we are. I think Villa have been absolutely fantastic. But Man City have got that squad, they got the experience. If Man City were to lose Rodri, though, no wins in any of that period where he got sent off against Nottingham Forest, I think it was. No wins in that period. As soon as he comes back, City win. So it's not about protecting Rodri at all costs, and it's beyond that. City cannot operate without Rodri. I don't think City can win a trophy this season without Rodri, because I don't think that replacement's come yet. I don't think Nunes can play that deep role. No, Guardiola kind of insinuated that he can play kind of anywhere. I don't think he can play to a high level in that deep role. I'm not sure about Kovacic. He's always got a knock in him as well. John Stones got a knock in him. So the other sides have to look at City and think, this is a side in transition without those clutch players. I'm talking Riyad Mahrez, I'm talking Ilkay Gundogan. I think it was the right moment to get rid of them in terms of rejuvenating the squad when you're on top. It's a power move in football. We saw Ferguson do it all the time. But this season, if there's going to be a side that won it, that wouldn't be Man City, it's the season now. Because I guarantee you next season, all these players will kick on, they'll get even better, and you add in a couple of world-class signings that strengthen the squad even more, with Doku in his second season, etc., then it gets closed off again. But the Premier League title race is so open. I do think City have got an amazing opportunity to win 4 in a row. But it's still scary times. It's still very, very scary times. Arsenal beating City. City not being able to get a win against Chelsea. Not being able to get a win against Liverpool. The Spurs game coming up. That's a massive, massive moment in the title race. Because if City can grind out a win in the kind of unfamiliar circumstances against Tottenham, then everything changes yet again. But at the moment, the Premier League title race is open, it's flat. Anyone, if they put a little bit of form together, can win the Premier League. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know, out of the 4 that I mentioned, with discounting Spurs, who can win the Premier League title.